started the month off with one of my favourite horror movies of the past few years, so it makes sense to end the month off with another one of my favourite horror movies of the past few years. A truly original film that is as psychologically twisted as it is terrifying. The Babadook. This movie was critically acclaimed when it came out and is considered to be one of the best movies of 2014 by many people. Sadly, I didn't see it in time for making my list, but if I did, it would without a doubt be in the top 3. This film is absolutely fantastic, start to finish perfection. The film is about Amelia, played by Essie Davis. Amelia is a single mother who is constantly stressed out by her 6-year-old son Sam, who has behavioural problems. Sam swears that he is being chased by a monster and because of that can't sleep and builds weapons to protect himself. One night Sam asks Amelia to read him a mysterious pop-up book that appeared out of nowhere. The book is called The Babadook. The book is all about a monster who torments someone when they find out about its existence. The rest of the movie is about the psychological damage that is done between Amelia and Sam because of the monster. Sam gets more and more scared, which makes Amelia more and more stressed out. Every time she gets rid of the book, it returns and it starts adding new pages about Amelia killing their dog Sam and then herself. It's essentially all about the psychological torment that is being done to Amelia and Sam. Before carrying on with this review, I need to make one thing clear. This is not a monster movie. Don't watch this movie expecting a monster to attack a woman and her son. That's not what the film is about. You don't really see the monster at all. The thing that makes this film scary is watching Amelia slowly go insane and become more and more dangerous. You start to fear not only for her, but for Sam. That is a pretty big thing to accomplish, especially when Sam is an annoying little shit the whole film. I think he's supposed to have Asperger's syndrome or something because he is constantly annoying. He is essentially what pushes Amelia over the edge. The film is in many ways about a mother struggling to deal with her son's mental illness as well as the guilt she feels for her husband's accidental death. The Babadook is not really a monster, it's more of a metaphor for the building stress that she feels. She is driven insane and that's what makes the film tense and absolutely terrifying. The writing and also the direction are fantastic. The film was both written and directed by Jennifer Kent and the film was her directorial debut. This is without a doubt one of the best directorial debuts I've ever seen. If she directs anything near as good as this, she could make some fantastic movies. The acting in this movie is also one of the strongest things in it. Essie Davis gives a truly phenomenal performance in the movie. The fact she didn't get an Oscar nomination is ridiculous and I guarantee it's because it's a horror movie. Very few horror movies have actually been nominated or won Oscars, and the fact that this film, not just Essie Davis, got no nominations at all is ridiculous. Noah Wiseman, who plays Sam, is also fantastic in the movie. I mean, it's very rare for a child actor to actually be good, and he is in this film. The Babadook is fantastic. It's original, incredibly tense, and just a really interesting psychological horror movie. This movie is truly proof that horror isn't dead. I give it a 10 out of 10. The whole point of these yearly reviews are for me to introduce you guys to some horror movies that you may not have seen. And also it gives me reason to check out some horror movies that I've been meaning to watch but haven't. This year I wanted to show why horror is not a dying genre. Many people have been saying that horror movies are terrible nowadays and that none of them are as good as the old classics. And yes, I will agree with you. A large amount of horror movies coming out nowadays are shit. But there are some fantastic horror movies coming out. No decade or year ever is filled with all good horror movies. During every single year, even back in the 70s and 80s, there were a lot of really shit movies. But we forget those films exist and only remember the gems, and that's what will happen in the future. We'll forget films like Ouija and Annabelle exist, and we'll remember films such as It Follows. We're now at a point where most of the original ideas have been done, so the big Hollywood companies don't want to try and come up with original ideas because they're incredibly hard to come across. But if we look past the huge mainstream horror movies and look more to the ones that are by smaller companies and are also critically acclaimed, you will find that there are some great horror movies being made. Horror is far from dead, and it's not even dying. It's just that the good movies are being hidden underneath the huge piles of shit. So I say let's wipe that shit away and focus on the good movies. I just listed a bunch of good ones, minus of course the Hostel and Final Destination sequels. So check those films out if you really think the horror is dying, and hopefully they'll change your mind. Thanks for watching Horror Season for another year, and I hope to do it again next year. Also, my movie series reviews are going to return soon too. I wanted to take a break to work on other things, but now I've done that, I want to get back into making these reviews. I have no idea what series I'm going to do first, I'm just going to write loads of reviews and see where it leads me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.